Avengers Woosh is the perfect improv game to use now that students are returning to in-person school. It's super fun, instantly engaging, supports social distancing, and hey, we're wearing masks already, might as well be superheroes. It's the improv game to end all improv games. You see what I did there? End game, Avengers. Stick with me for Avengers Woosh. Hi, and welcome to Classroom Confidential and Zoomprov games. My name is Christopher Youngren, and I'm a middle school ELA teacher in Tucson, Arizona. Now, if you're new to the idea of using improv in your classes, let me assure you that it ain't just all fun and games, and it's certainly not just about making people laugh. Improv has a lot of benefits for your students, including effective communication, increased listening skills, thinking outside the box, and maximizing creativity. And this game is a perfect example and a great place to start. Now, if you're familiar with the original version of Woosh, which is arguably an improv classic, then I think you're really going to appreciate the changes I've made to adapt it to the superhero genre. If you're not familiar with Woosh, then I'll include a link in the description below and at the end of the video. But to start with, you just begin with one move, and that move is the whoosh. Now, if we were playing traditional whoosh, we would have everybody stand in a circle, and since we're still living in COVID times, make sure that it's a nicely spaced circle where everybody is at least an arm's length away from each other. And we start by just passing the whoosh around the circle. Whoosh! And really have them physicalize. But here, we're not going to have them do whoosh. Here, the whoosh becomes Iron Man. Iron Man, and really have them commit to it. I find that when we're using characters, students are more apt to connect and commit to the character than if they're just being Billy or Johnny or Susie or Jake. So if they can be Iron Man, it gives them this inherent strength where they can physicalize, they can make the movements big, and they can pass the Iron Man around the circle. And so you just go around the circle a couple of times going, Iron Man, Iron Man, Iron Man, Iron Man. And when you get that down, you can add the next move. Now, the next move is Captain. And as we all know, Captain America has a shield. And what does a shield do? A shield deflects things. So when you say Captain and hold up your arm like you're holding up a shield, it deflects Iron Man's beam and sends it back the other direction. So you begin by going Iron Man, Iron Man, Iron Man, and then if somebody plays a Captain, it sends it back in the opposite direction. Now, once you have Iron Man and the Captain down, you can add Thor to the mix. And of course, Thor has his hammer and he goes around throwing it at people, right? So we're obviously not going to be throwing real hammers. We're going to be throwing imaginary hammers, which hurt a lot less. But what you want to do when you play a Thor is you want to begin by making eye contact with the person that you're throwing it at. Especially when it comes to middle schoolers and eye contact, yeah, not so much. But again, using a superhero character, I think gives students more strength than they would normally have otherwise. Normally they might be reticent and shy, but when they can go Thor and throw a hammer, it gives them a little more courage. It gives them a little more strength. So when they throw the hammer at the person after making eye contact, that person they throw it at has to act accordingly. And what happens when Thor throws his hammer? Oh yeah, somebody gets knocked down or knocked out. And then the hammer is returned to Thor, who then has to play a different character move, because you don't just want to go around the circle knocking people out. Thor, 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 right? That just gets obnoxious. So make sure once the hammer returns to you as Thor that you're playing a different character as you carry on with the game. Now, along the lines of the Thor move is a guest star to the Avengers, Spider-Man. And as we all know, Spider-Man slings his web, right? So we begin by making eye contact with somebody else in the circle and saying, Spider-Man, and we can make the sound too, which is much more fun. So Spider-Man, and when the person you've made eye contact with receives it, they get caught up in the web, right? And they have to break free and really encourage physicality. This game is so much more fun when the students commit 100% physically. And they may be a little shy and a little standoffish to begin with, but once you get into the swing of the game, it gets to be so much fun, especially if everybody is making bigger than life choices and really committing to the choices they're making. So again, Spider-Man, someone gets caught up in the web, oh, they gotta break out, and then they continue it with a different character, and the game goes on. Now we're getting into much more chaotic moves, and the real insanity will begin with Hulk Smash! And when you play a Hulk Smash, everybody in the circle falls down, all right? Except for the Hulk, because he's the one smashing. And then the first person back on their feet is going to be the one to continue the game with the next move. So once again, Hulk Smash! Everyone falls down. The first person to stand back up can continue the move, making sure that the person that they're sending the next move to is ready and not still passed out cold on the ground from the whole, Hulk smashing thing. Superheroes need days off too, right? And what do superheroes do on their days off? Well, they have a super party, of course. And when you play a super party, everybody starts dancing like they can hear the best song in the world inside their heads. This is how old guys dance, by the way, until everybody reaches a new spot in the circle. And when they reach a new spot in the circle, whoever played the super party continues it with a completely different move. But really get into it, really dance, really have fun, because man, it's a super party, so be super. Now, of course, as sad as it may be, the day has to come eventually. Endgame. And what happens when you play an endgame? Oh, but jeepers breaks loose and everybody runs around screaming like the most horrifying thing in the world is happening. Now be aware of other classrooms when you're playing in Endgame. It's great if you're in a big gymnasium or something, but maybe encourage people to keep the volume to a low roar, just out of respect for your fellow classrooms. And then again, just like Super Party, once everybody gets back into a different spot in the circle, whoever played the Endgame can continue the game with a different move. One of the reasons I like Avengers Woosh and Woosh in general so much is you can just keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it based upon the ability level of whatever group you happen to be working with. And so once they get these initial moves down, add a Black Widow, add a Hawkeye, add 10 more superheroes, add a whole army, get suggestions from them. You're only limited by your own imagination. So as far as I'm concerned, sky's the limit. Now, this just might seem like a bunch of silliness and that there isn't much of value to actually be learned here. I mean, what is it actually teaching kids anyway? Well, focus to begin with, effective listening, communication, collaboration, working together as a group, not grandstanding and not making it all about you, but continuing to work with each other to keep the superhero machine moving. This game is deceptively effective in teaching some skills that can be applied in a lot of other areas. I really hope you try this game in your own classroom with your own students. And if so, comment down below and let me know how it goes. This is so much the kind of thing that students need as they return to an in-person school world after sitting on their keisters for over a year staring dead-eyed into screens. They need to get up, they need to get moving, and they need to get energized. And Avengers Woosh is a terrific place to start. Thanks for joining me today. Be well out there, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and take care of someone else. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.